All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome back to my 1991 FXRS build. This is episode 8. Today's video, as you're going to see, we're going to be doing exhaust, the brake lines, the throttle cables. What else did I do? Clutch line, got the front wheel back on. I recorded all this while working on the bike and lost the audio. The audio was not on there, so I'm doing an intro for today. And then tomorrow we're going to pick back up and try to finish this bike up because I'm still shooting for that New Year's Day startup. Today is Wednesday the 27th. Obviously tomorrow's the 28th. Just the way it's going right now with New Year's Eve and all that stuff, I'm hoping to be done with this bike by Saturday. So that way on Monday, we'll start it, ride it, and we'll take you guys along with us. Y'all stick around. We'll see you at the end. Later. Just a reminder, anytime that you're working on exhaust on a motorcycle, you want to get all the pieces together on the bike before you start tightening anything up. So get both your head pipes on, get your collector on, your muffler on, the bracket, everything kind of loosely fitted, and then start tightening it up. Work back and forth as you're tightening it up as well. This is going to prevent any type of bind-in, which could result in cracks down the road. Alright, what's up everybody? It's the next day and we're getting back on the motorcycle. We should have audio. I just double checked it. Everything seems to be working just fine. So hopefully, fingers crossed, no issues. I went ahead and decided we're tackling the wiring. Let's get the wiring out of the way. I'm dreading it. It's just time consuming. It's not hard, it's just time consuming. But luckily I do have this kit right here from NAMS. This is going to be like kind of like your earlier generation, just a wire extension kit. I believe for the non-bagger models up to 20-inch apes. Way more wiring than we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of set you guys up. I'm going to take the harness, kind of put it in position of where it needs to be. Just see how much we need. We don't need it coming, you know, way out past the headlight. We just need it to be a few inches longer than where it's at right now. I'm going to cut it a little further up the wiring and I'm going to stagger them. So if I cut this one here and add 4 inches, I'm going to cut this one a little lower, lower, lower. Then we're going to heat shrink the whole thing and then we're going to put nice loom on it. So without showing you every wire that I'm gonna do, I'll kind of set it up, show you one or two, and then when we pick back up, all of them will be done, routed through the headlight, and then I'm gonna go and show you kind of what I did as far as labeling all the connectors with the labels here, get it all put back together, hopefully put a battery in the bike, and see if we got some lights. We do have to put the tail light back in, the headlight, but we should at least be able to maybe hit the starter, a couple of little things like that. So set you guys up and let's get started. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this like a random cut somewhere. All the numbers, I'm going to save them in a pile. So this will all be left controls and then all these will be right controls. That way I don't get them all mixed up. I know which ones go to which. So when we cut these, whatever I cut this at, so if I cut it here, it don't matter where I cut this at, I'm going to add 5 inches of length from wherever I cut this at. So I'm just going to cut it back a little bit. So at least I preserve my number. So just give it a cut right there. Clear a little bit of this off. I'm exposing enough to solder. Now I'm going to get my green wire right here. What I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and clip the new end on there. So let me go over here to the NAMS kit. So the way this works, in case no one's ever done this before, basically what you're going to do is you're just going to take the NAMS already comes with like a end with just a little nub, but the side that's already cut is the perfect length for you to take the supply ends and you're just gonna slide it in until the wire, I don't know if it can zoom in, until the wire gets up to that. Then you're just gonna take your U-shape pliers, clamp the side that goes into the wire. Should look like that when it's done. And then on your other side, the same thing. Boom. And now we have a wire, and that's not going to come off. It's all new. All right, so then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to match it up right here. I'm going to make a little mark at my 5-inch, just like so. Then I'm going to take this little guy, the wire that I cut, make a mark for how long that is. Take my wire snips, cut it, clean it, little flux. Then I'll take my wire holder, there went my heat shrink, kind of pinch it together. Basically I just got it holding it. Cool little tool. You pick them up online, Amazon, eBay, anywhere like that. Then you're just going to take your solder, put it on the tip. Make sure you got good coverage all the way around. Take it off, give it a little pull test, make sure it ain't coming off. Get that to where it's centered up in the center. So now we have a nice wire. It's not going to come undone if you ever have to run it back to the bars again. And then when we route this through here, it's going to have plenty of room to come through our headlight. Let's move on to the next one. And this is also why, if you do the stagger, see it's got a little thicker portion, of course, the sleeve. So if you cut them all at the same spot, what's going to happen is this isn't going to get it to stay as nice and tight, and it's just going to get really kind of bulged up right here. That's why I'm doing the stagger trick. You can feel free to do anything you want. I mean, it's your bike. I'm just showing you kind of the little tricks that I do. So now I'm going to cut this one a little further up, about right there. Same thing, clean off a little bit of the solder. Clean the wire up, twist it up. Now take my gray wire, since it's the wire I'm working on now. Got my gray wire, get my little pieces from NAMS, male connectors, electrical connectors. Same thing, just get it to stop right there. 5 inches. This is a hard way to talk. You got a pen cap in your mouth. All right, so we got the harness nice and extended. Everything's the same length. And of course, on the one that had the jumper wire, we had to do 2 solders, but I kept everything staggered. It comes supplied with 20 inches of heat shrink. Run this up through here. I'm just gonna make it go to about this point right here because we actually have some nice loom that we're gonna put on here. So I'm gonna cut this, stick it on, kind of show you the final product, and then we're gonna put the loom on there, run it through the headlight with the little clip and everything, and then get to the other side. Just want to show you real quick what I was talking about. You can see now that everything's heat shrink together. The little extra bulges from where all the other heat shrink was, because it's just a little thicker than the actual wire lead. So that's why if you just keep piling it up and up and up and up, it's just going to have one big bulge. If you kind of stagger it as you go up, it just makes it look a little smoother. With the heat shrink on it, it doesn't look bad. But when I put the loom on it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to look way more bueno. There it is, NAMS wiring extension kit. Now I'll reach the headlight just fine. We'll run it through this backside through here, through this hole right here. We'll be one step closer to firing this thing up. All right, to kind of show you where we're at right now, that harness that I actually was working on was for the right hand control. So I got it loomed down through here, in which once I get everything nice and tight, I'll zip tie the 2 together, and this will be just real nice in here. Obviously this clutch cable is just sticking up there to get out of my way, but it'll just be the 2 nice wire looms coming through. I had to cut this heat shrink back. I had it a little too long, and it was too thick to get into this factory clip to go back inside the headlight. So I got everything routed back through the clip. The harness is sitting here. Like I said, all we gotta do now is put the end on there, which I have all the color codes. I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, pop everything in. Basically, these male ends, they have a little, I don't know if that's gonna zoom or not, but if you see that little bit that sticks out, you just got to wait till you hear a click. So it's going to pop into those little terminal connectors, if you will, and you'll hear a click, and that lets you know that it's good and seated. You want to make sure that these are seated. And then obviously we also have those little jumper pieces that we got to put in. But I got plenty of photos on my phone, and we got the book if we need to refer back to the book. And we'll get this clip done, and then we're going to start on this harness, making it look the same, and see if we can get some power to this bike. Ooh! I had to pull out the camera and show off my last bit. Look at that. Beautiful. We'll just chalk the first one up as practice. Wanted to show it before I loom it. And then also wanted to show you guys something real quick, because I should have showed you on these female ends, which are way easier than the male ends. But a little trick to kind of making them click in again. I had to push these little, I don't know if you can see it, but I had to push these little tabs down to get them to slide out. So to get them to pop back up, you just gotta get something small, like a little pick or something. And all you need to do is just bend it up so it creates another little area for it, or not area, contact for it to pop in there, secure itself again. You wanna make sure you pull on it real good, because the wiring isn't something you just kind of like practice on. I mean, I guess you can practice on it, but it's not really something you just want to like take a chance on. This can cause some big significant issues down the road. So you could be stranded, you know, whatever, if a wire just comes undone, if your solder's not solid. So if it's something you don't feel comfortable doing, definitely leave it to a professional, or have like a, you know, a friend or someone that does this kind of stuff regular come over. I've done a lot of wiring. I might not be the best at it, or my wire might not look the prettiest, but I know it's going to hold. I give it a good pull test. I pull on these as I'm clamping on them. Everything should stay secure, but there's always that possibility. Just double check your work. You know, don't just solder and go on to the neck. You know, solder, let it cool, give it a good little tug. Make sure these things have the little clip, so that way they snap in and they won't come apart, because once you go to push the plastics together, it might, if it doesn't have this lined up just perfect, it can push this out. Next you know, those two are not making contact. You don't have a starter switch or a turn signal or a high beam or something just isn't working, because those two wires aren't contacting, and then you're chasing that wire forever. You think you got a bad bulb, or you got, you know, something else going on, and all along it's just, you know, the connector's not great. I'm gonna finish putting the loom on this, and we'll get it back in the headlight, and then we'll pick back up and go from there. All right, so I got all the wires hooked up in their proper connectors. What we're going to go ahead and do now, and also real quick note, just to remind you guys, they are a couple of those little jumper tabs, if you will. They go between certain colors. Most of them will go between the same colors, and they're just powering a circuit to the other same color wire, except for here there is 3 wires, and 2 are green, 2 one's orange. That one orange is also a jump, I don't know. It's all in the wiring diagram in the back of the repair manual, so if you got any questions, or if you didn't take detailed photos, you can always refer to that. Let's get all this button up. Let's get the voltage regulator on. Let's put the tail light on, and then try to put some power to this bike and see if the lights come on. All right, we got the battery plugged in. I got the headlight, tail light. Let's just see if the headlight comes on. We got power, high beam, low beam. Got my neutral lights on, my oil lights on, high beam lights on. Still need to do a couple more little things before we hit the starter button. Looks like we got power. All right, what's up everybody? It's the next day, and kind of off camera. Tail light cleaned up, fully on. I got everything kind of routed. I did go ahead and run my original clutch perch up there, so that way the clutch cables all ran. And unfortunately I did have to take off the wire loom that I was trying to install on there. It was from Amazon, super thin, super cheap, and it was already kind of tearing as it was up here. The wire loom, so like this stuff that's on my wife's bike And you can't even see my bike. That stuff came from an electrician friend of mine that works for the railroad, and it was good quality stuff. I thought it was all the same. And unfortunately, I didn't have enough. The old stuff that I've been using, and it wasn't enough to do this job. So I tried doing what I thought was right by ordering the other stuff. It was way too cheap, so it looked like garbage. But either way, everything's routed up here, nice and clean. I went in and put my stock lever on here because the new levers won't be in until the 5th. So I got the voltage regulator installed, kind of routed the wires. Now, I don't know exactly how a lot of you guys run the wires on the voltage regulator. This is an aftermarket voltage regulator that was on the bike when I got it. I don't even remember how this wire was ran, but I ran it down along the frame, back up. It's coming up over the transmission. I put this little plastic sleeve that I made so it doesn't rub there, and then it's connected to the circuit breaker. I also put a little rubber nub there, so if it does wind flop around, it's not hitting metal, free of any moving parts and all that kind of stuff. So it should last, I would say, and not give me any issues. Obviously the clutch cables ran. I think that's gonna work just fine. Coils on, fluids in here, new oil filter and oil in the tank. It's got transmission fluid, the belt's adjusted. So I think all that's left is let's go ahead and put the gas tank on. Let's get the speedometer and everything on the bike. We'll get to see the bike in its final form for this video. And then the next video, New Year's Day, because we still got a few days away, I need to go help Justin out anyways. We'll get this bike started and we're gonna take it for a ride. Oh yeah, kickstand block. I still gotta put the kickstand block on. So I need to do that real quick too. It's just 2 holes. You just make a little template, transfer it onto your kickstand, drill those 2 holes out, bolt the kickstand block up. It's pretty easy, but tank, kickstand block, gauges, and then we should be ready to ride. Man, I am so hyped. All right, so there you have it, guys. Got the bike all done. It's buttoned up. I still got to bleed the brakes. I still got to put that kickstand block on, and I still need to, obviously, I want to wax the tanks. This is literally just hand wash and everything. Nothing's been really polished on this bike yet. Still got the new levers coming, obviously. Got to figure out a mirror situation, and I'm still waiting on a lay down tag bracket. I forgot that I ordered that as well. Check it out. As you guys can see, everything got the lines running nice. This is a factory location. So line's going real nice and clean there. This is just cleaned up. This, I didn't repaint this or do anything with it. That's just the way it was. Same thing with up here. I mean, I got fingerprints on everything, but this is just all, just me kind of cleaning everything up. Got the seat on there. Thanks again, Saddleman. This seat, man, I am super, super hyped on it. But sitting on the bike, the riding position, everything about this bike, it feels a lot like my Softail over there. So I am very, very happy. And that's another reason why I don't record a lot of this, is because, like, for instance, that voltage regulator, I installed that and probably rerouted that wire like 4, 5, 10 times. It would have been like really, really, really boring footage. But you got to make sure that however you route wires, that they're not going to rub against things. You know, you want everything kind of free from, and you got to remember, you got wind, vibrations, everything's going to be moving, all this stuff. So you just want everything free from any type of interference. And that's what's going to make a good bike, a reliable bike, trouble-free bike. It's exactly what I was hoping for. I mean, it's not over the top, but it's also not stock, if that makes sense. I mean, it's stock. Don't get me wrong. It's stock paint, a lot of OEM parts on here. But it's just the right amount of upgrades that it makes me happy. And then going back and just being tedious and using all brand new Harley Davidson hardware on everything. Say what you want. At the end of the day, Harley hardware lasts. Like I said, all the hardware on the motor is 30-some years old. It still looks great. It's still holding up fine. It doesn't corrode. It doesn't rust if you take care of your bike. Yeah, so I'm stoked. I hope you guys are too. Thanks so much for following along. I know these episodes aren't like the most exciting, and it's way more fun having Justin on board and doing cool stuff with him, but I'm having fun in my garage. It's cold outside, you know, giving us something to do, giving you guys something to watch. And it's really, really cool, like I said in the last video, that most of you guys are doing the same thing. And it's like y'all are watching the videos and you're like one episode behind me on everything that I'm doing. I know Alex just posted from House of Harley. I know he posted doing the forks on his bike. Jeremiah and a bunch of other guys. You know, you guys all are building killer bikes, and I hope to see a lot of you guys on the road. Either way, we're going to end the video there. There's the bike. And on the next episode, hopefully it starts, we go for a ride. So until then, y'all take care. We'll see you later. Peace.